Significance of education for women. My research question is, how does educating women affect society in developing countries? My lenses are social, ethical, and economic. There are 775 million illiterate people alive today, and 2/3 of them are women. My claim I developed after evaluating the evidence that for every year a girl goes to school beyond 4th grade, that her wages will rise 21%, and she'll be more likely to have less children, which will help with overpopulation, is that when women receive an education, it is not only morally right, but developing countries are pushed forward in economic and social ways. My similar source connections are from Source A by Edward Kessler, Social Media Movement of Ideas, which has to do with social media and the internet, that connects with Malala Yousafzai and her published blog on BBC. And Source E, Letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr., that examines the effects of injustice in one place, such as women's education, and affects people from all over. This article is from the Social Lens, and this article is from a magazine called America, from Gail Opposing Viewpoints, and was published to examine the effects of women's education on the African population. And it says that the best and cheapest way to prepare Africa for its growing population is to educate all of its girls. Africa is said to have the lowest dependency ratio in all of the world, which is said to have the non-preceded advantage in economic terms. And so said in the article, education is the best investment for Africa. Since education is the foundation for society because it provides careers such as farming in a person's life, it will better their life. And Africa is at an advantage compared to the rest of the world because of its dependency ratio, which is where the working class is bigger than people who aren't working, such as the youth and the elderly, and their working class will be larger than people who aren't, and so will help make the economy grow. And when people get married young, it's called child marriages, and they're more likely to have children at closer intervals and at a younger age, which will make the population grow. And it's been seen in the past that there's a correlation between education and population growth. As you can see in this graph, Afghanistan has a female literacy rate of less than 20%, and their population growth is over 4. And that's really big. And you can see that same trend in Yemen, Pakistan, Mali, and Sudan, that their female literacy rate is really small, and that their population growth is larger. This quote is from Global Partnership for Education, and it's the only global organization around the world that is solely dedicated to education. In an article written by Jo Bourne, she shockingly wrote that the power of a girl's education, national economic growth is undeniable. A 1 percentage point increase in female education raises the annual GDP growth by 0.2%. And a country can produce more products and sell more when a woman receives education, which will therefore benefit an entire society. And it will help her give a career and opportunities, because when women are educated, it will help agricultural yields increase and African leadership. And from the ethical lens, you can see that mothers are not only in the social lens, but they're also in the ethical lens, because girls in developing countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, have generational problems due to lack of education. When mothers aren't educated, they're not as likely to have medical care, vaccinate their children, or provide necessary nutrition and sanitation for them. This quote says, "When followed, these habits, as mentioned before, can reduce child and maternal mortality rates and ensure healthier and well-nourished families, clearly benefiting the community." Education betters the life of the woman being educated, but also benefits the entire community and the family, and it will help develop a society and a country. Edward Kessler is leader of relations and contemporary religious relations and founder of Wolf Institute in Cambridge, UK. In 2010, 12 years after incorporation, visitors of people surpassed 1 billion, and up from 931 million visitors a year earlier. In 2011, there was an average of 2 million Google searches per minute. And from the ethical lens, this shows that how fast the internet grew and to spread information. And this relates back to Malala Yousafzai, because she wrote a blog talking about women's education, and after she was shot and received near-fatal injuries, her story spread to people around the world, because social media users and internet users were able to see this. But there is a counter argument to this, which is that Sharia-based law restricts rights for women, and that because of Sharia in Saudi Arabia, women cannot travel without the permission of a male relative, and that women need a male with them to participate in public activities. So in countries with Sharia law, that they are restricted for education and other rights. But the rebuttal to this is inequity in women's education affects everyone, because as Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we need to fight against Sharia law and get women's education, because it clearly benefits a country by pushing it forward to educate the women. This quote says that Malala School admitted Syrian refugee girls who left their country because of the unrest in their nation and due to the unrest in their nation of the Civil War, and the 4-year school teaches students life skills and traditional subjects to prepare them for their careers. And that this solution is to build a school and protect them from girls, and protect the girls and the schools from terrorists. And that this opportunity is world-changing for many good to go to these schools because of the skills that they're going to learn, and that you can bring them back to their families and their communities. And that, as you can see from the quote, that this solution is already working in Malala's case in Syria, and all we need to do is implement it on a larger scale. But there are limitations, such as funding. Many of these developing societies do not have the economic backing to make this happen, and therefore, or also who will build and protect the schools, particularly in countries with Sharia law, and fight against it. But the rebuttal to this is there are ways to overcome this obstacle, because look at Malala's school. She made it happen, so why can't we? And research has shown that education increases leadership, agriculture yields, and GDP increases. And it's morally right to fight for women's education and fight against Sharia law and whatever else can stop it. And this is my images cited and works cited page.
Okay, a couple questions for you, Gracie. The first one is, what information did you need that you weren't able to find or locate, and how did you go about trying to find that information?
So I couldn't find information about Malala, like her background, because I tried to find the information like before her blog. So I just tried to find information about after her school. So instead of finding like before and finding her blog, I just looked at stuff about her school, and that's when I found the solution.
Okay. And then the other question is, what additional questions emerged from your research, and why are these questions important?
An additional question that emerged from my research is how did education really affect girls? Like, how can it benefit them in a personal way? Because obviously it helps a country and it helps overall with their GDP, but how does it really personally affect them and benefit